as promised, Rick Morris from the FDH Lounge has a national radio show based in Cleveland. Big Game 7 tonight, Rick. You know, we talked during the Cubs-Indians, Game 7, the LeBron Golden State Game 7 a while ago. I always like to gauge the nerves of how, someone on the inside is feeling about their team. How do you feel about tonight, my friend?
I'm psyched, my friend. Psyched to be here. Psyched for Game 7. Really feeling great going into this one here. No K-Love, but again, there's a clear path to victory here. Really feels like a coin flip overall, I'd say.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on that. And it seems to, and I was talking to my producer earlier, and again, appreciate you coming on, Rick. Good talking to you. LeBron, it seems to get harder and harder and harder, and he keeps overcoming these challenges. And he led his team to a 10-point victory without Kevin Love the other night. You got Tristan Thompson scoring 3 points in the last 2 games. Can LeBron do it by himself, basically, again? He averages 35 points in his Game 7s over his career, but you got to go into Boston. They've been very good at home, and he doesn't have much of a supporting cast, and his other big gun is out. Can he do it?
He cannot and will not do it by himself, so it's going to come down to the rest of the cast. Ultimately, really, he never has. Even the other night, George Hill with 20 points. And talking to some other folks around town here, it's really kind of the consensus of, and this is a brutal thing to say about a team, but as goes George Hill, so goes the team. And again, he's a very good player when he's on, when he's got everything going. He's got to come out attacking early on in Boston. For whatever reason, he has not been in attack mode as much in the games there as he has been in Cleveland. And that's the whole thing here, too. It's shorthand to talk about the miserable supporting cast with the Cavs. It's not even necessarily so much that. It's the great players in the league. LeBron is what he is at least 95% of the time. The top guys in Golden State, probably about 90% of the time. On down to, you got about a 60% chance maybe of getting a really good George Hill performance, if that. It just kind of tails off from there. Kevin Love, I'd say he's about 85%, 80%, but he's not playing tonight. So you got to get enough of these 50% and 60% guys going. Yeah. Fortunately, it's Boston, and it's not like they're world famous at generating offense at this stage of the game right now anyways, what they have. So for the Cavs, that gritty defensive mentality that they had going the other night, I think is going to be the key. It's simplistic to say better without Love because they're clearly not. But there's opportunities that are there without Love when you've got guys like Larry Nance in there. If he plays well, if he gives the energy like he did the other night.
Sure.
There's ways to see as far as the specific matchups with Boston where the available guys are going to be right for the situation. Some of that depends on getting 2 games in a row from Sonic's Jeff Green, which I don't know what the odds of that are.
We're with Rick Morris on the Comcast Business Hotline. Rick, LeBron already has 7 games in this postseason, 40 points or more. He had 44 in Game 4, 46 in Game 6. Just ridiculous. Does he have to have one of those nights? And then we talked about his supporting cast and what they need to do. Boston has been very good at home. Does LeBron need one of those monster nights to win?
Well, I think so. And one of our contributors, our basketball contributor at FDH, Ben Chu, he broke it down. I think he's got the formula here. LeBron's got to go 40-plus the way it goes now. You need a 20-plus effort from somebody. If it was Kevin Love in there, you wouldn't really necessarily blink at it. But
right.
Without him, it's got to be Hill or Korver in all likelihood, and then somebody else to be at least decent double digits in that group there. And Tristan Thompson, on a night when things are going well for him, off of the cuts to the hole, the putbacks, whatever, maybe he can be that. But it really starts to get a little cloudier from there. J.R. Smith, that guy's been a corpse for most of the series. So whether it be that, whether it be Jordan Clarkson, I'm not even going to say Rodney Hood at this point because his name is mud in this town, and justifiably so.
Right.
So when you start to look at the candidates to rise up here, as I say, it's not that they can't. It's a level of consistency for all of them. Consistency is what separates the rest of the cast from being star-level players more than anything else.
Where would you, if LeBron gets it done on the road in a Game 7 versus the Celtics team who've been very good at home, and he overcomes so many challenges and he tacks on to his resume, it seems like, every game or every other game. Where would you put this if he takes his team to the finals?
It's got to go well up there. I mean, I don't know that anything really is ever going to surpass anything that happened in 2016.
Yeah, right.
But you put it right behind it, not too far behind it, because of the challenges involved in this. Again, there's been some overstatement of, and again, the Cavs are the number one generator in the world, not just in sports, but in all media for generating bad narratives. People comparing this team to the 2007 team. Again, it's not even close. We would have killed for a Korver on that team, a George Hill, anybody else on there. But this is the first non-Big Three team that he's had in this decade. And that's the whole thing here, too. As soon as the Thomas thing didn't work out, this was doomed to be a non-Big Three team. Of course, it's not as great as the last 7 teams that he's been on. But to compare it to 2007 is an ignorant media narrative that you just hear too much of these days.
No, I would agree with Rick Morris from the FDH Lounge. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline. Rick, a win or a loss tonight? A win, they go to the finals, do the Cavaliers. A loss, and it's LeBron's last game, at least this year. Does it have any effect either way where he might go next year if he does decide to leave Cleveland? Does it depend at all on the outcome of tonight's game?
Sure it does. Absolutely. Depending on what they look like, quite frankly, depending on what happens in the other series. If Houston is able to make it, if Houston makes it to the finals, that's a pretty good thing either way, because obviously they're a more beatable team, especially without Chris Paul at 100%. Or if Houston wins, LeBron is not going to jump there directly next year. Philly is back more in play than they were the last time I was on your show, but
You think
I'm
so?
almost leaning more. Yeah, I think so. Because of Ben Simmons, although I still maintain I don't think it's a great fit with him with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons having to play off of the ball more with LeBron being there. What good is he? Because you saw when Boston forced him to go out there, generate offense, what he was left to do at that point. So I don't think it's a great fit, but I'm not necessarily sure LeBron is going to see it that way, and that's all that really counts. I'm leaning more towards thinking that it could be a one-year re-up. I've been hearing that a little bit more recently just because of what I've been saying all along. There's not a lot of great options there.
Right.
Maybe he sends Paul George to L.A. to try to get them to the 6th seat so they look a little more plausible next summer. There could be some things like that basically happening. I'm leaning more towards that. I think it's still better than 50-50 like it's been all the way along as far as him coming back. What we'll settle for tonight is, if it's a loss, we'll settle for him not ripping off his jersey on the way to the locker room, because we know what that boded last time.
But if he does win, he takes his team to the finals, that leans more towards him staying with Cleveland, at least for another year?
It helps. It definitely helps. I mean, I don't know how much they can do at this point to really kind of help themselves in terms of the cap situation. David Griffin, if he was still the general manager, you'd have more faith in the ability to navigate that. You're still looking at a situation where I think Trae Young or Colin Sexton is likely to be the pick at 8. Either one of them would be pretty exciting to me. LeBron has already said Trae Young would be exciting to him.
Sure.
So you look at the possibilities. Again, the Cavs don't have a tremendous amount to offer in that way. There's always the hope of improvement from within, maybe from a Clarkson. Hood at this point, if he doesn't get tendered at all, it wouldn't even surprise me. And Hood's one of the guys that they would have been counting on to help keep LeBron around a couple of weeks ago. So, I'm a little bit gloomier on that possibility than I was recently. But winning tonight, it absolutely makes a difference.
I love that, Rick. I appreciate your candor. Real quick before I let you go, give me a prediction on tonight's game.
Could go either way. I will say Cavs 90, Celtics 89.
Wow. How about that? The Cavs cover, too, if they win by a point. Great stuff. I just want to see a great game, but I think if you're a Sixer fan, I believe we're supposed to root for the Celtics in Houston, according to one of the beat writers that came on a little while ago. We shall say, hey, good luck tonight, man. Keep the nerves down. I know what you're feeling, but enjoy the game, my friend. We'll catch up with you again soon.
I'll do that. Thank you. A pleasure as always, Joe.
Always, Rick. Thanks, pal. Rick Morris on the Comcast Business Hotline. He has a national radio show based in Cleveland. Always has good stuff. I didn't expect him to say that. I really didn't expect him to say with such certainty that tonight's outcome has that much of an effect on LeBron's situation going forward.